Ian, a disappointing result for Everton in the derby match, and they'll be looking to bounce back in the FA Cup tie against Sunderland.
Yeah, it certainly will. It was a very disappointing result for them, although judging by the team selection from David Moyes, it's clear that he's obviously, well, judging from the team selection, it looks as though he's prioritised with the FA Cup. It's a trophy that Everton will think as though they can win. They're only one game away from a return to Wembley, and it's going to be the biggest game of their season. Obviously, the derby is always one of their biggest games of the seasons, and there are a lot of supporters who aren't particularly happy with the manner of the performance, and because of the defeat, they're then pointing the finger at David Moyes because of his team selection. But then he'll probably argue that if they go and beat Sunderland on Saturday, that it's job done. He'd sooner, pragmatic, he'd sooner have Everton get a step nearer to a cup final or winning something than just winning a derby, and for his own sake saying, I've actually won at Anfield, because it's now obviously been 11 attempts now in his 10 years in charge, and he's not managed to get the one victory. But Everton on the day, even with the players they had out, they were actually very disappointed. I think a lot of the players could do a lot better than they did. I think you look at the team, and there were a lot of players there who were just coming back from injury or hadn't played many games. I mean, you look at Seamus Coleman, he'd only started, I think it was one game beforehand in 2 months. Phil Jagielka and Jack Rodwell were making their first appearances since January, so there were a lot of players who weren't at 100%, and I think the likes of Tim Cahill, Nikica Jelavic, Phil Neville, Leon Osmond, they'll all come straight back into the starting lineup on Saturday against Sunderland. I mean, Everton have played up at Sunderland this season. I think they drew. They haven't played them at home yet this season, but obviously they've got a great record against Sunderland. It's just one of those quirky things of football. And interestingly though, Martin O'Neill, the Sunderland manager, has got a great record at Goodison. In 13 visits there as a player and manager, he's only lost once, but that was with Aston Villa 3 years ago in the 5th round of the Cup, when Everton won and then went on to Wembley. So maybe Everton will take an omen from that. I think Sunderland, without Lee Catamol and without Sessegnon, who were both suspended, they maybe probably just, they've been riding the crest of the wave a little bit recently, and perhaps Everton might catch them at a good time. But then of course Sunderland would say that they're catching Everton at a good time, even though that's Everton's first defeat in 10 games. But I would not be surprised if this one probably goes to replay. But I think Everton overall probably got enough to get through, and I think the hunger and certainly the desire to make up for the derby performance for their supporters may just push them through.